Word. Stay tuned.
What is good, family? We're in the confines of my bedroom, and I'm going to do an edition of Against the Ropes. We're going to be talking about the Judgment Day. Yeah. So it's Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. So this all actually started when WWE Hall of Famer Edge was in the group. It started February 20, near the end of February, when Edge was making an open challenge for WrestleMania, and AJ Styles accepted. Edge turned heel by brutally attacking him. That's where Edge changed his theme. He got all spooky wooky, doing all that. Yeah, it didn't work, but yeah. So they'd be building to their match. I'm not gonna lie, the build was kind of weak. It could have been better, but it was still something. But when we got to the match, yeah, like I said, could have been better, but it was still pretty good. And then Edge eventually won that match because of help from Damian Priest, who recently turned heel. Because if you saw him before, he had a United States title run, but his babyface run was getting pretty bland. So Damian Priest and Edge started the Judgment Day. They do a promo, obviously, because that's what every new stable does when they have a new member. AJ attacks, and then again, more spooky wooky crap. Where the next week after that, AJ faces Damian, and the match doesn't finish because Damian gets all crazy eyed, spooky wooky. Yeah. To give you a little spoiler, the first few months of Judgment Day kind of sucked. But, yeah. So, basically the same thing. AJ's getting attacked constantly. Edge, the mountain of omnipotence, while dissing the crowd's favorite sports teams. Yeah. Then WrestleMania Backlash. Edge, AJ, another rematch. Same result. Edge wins with the sleeper. But this time, Rhea Ripley gets involved, which officially gets her into the group. Which, it was pretty good. Well, now it's good, but back then it was a nice addition for her because just like Damian Priest, she won a championship on her first big pay-per-view on the main roster, but really didn't do much, and her babyface run was getting pretty stale. So now Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and Edge are in the faction. You think it'd be pretty dope, but again, they look good, but when they talked, it wasn't good back then. So, same thing. Rhea's new heel character. She's fighting Liv Morgan, winning. Damian's doing his thing. Edge is on his mountain of omnipotence. So, let's fast forward to a 6-man tag at Hell in a Cell, because Finn Balor gets involved. So it's Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Liv Morgan facing the Judgment Day at Hell in a Cell. It ultimately ends up with, I believe it was the heels again winning because of some shenanigans. But the next night on Raw, that's where things get interesting. Because they're about to unveil their new member, Edge again, blah, blah, mountain of omnipotence, just garbage. Because, like I said earlier, the first bit was not that good for the Judgment Day. And then when they're introducing their new member, Finn Balor comes out. And you'd think he was just on the good side yesterday, and he's joining the heels. But for him, it was the same thing as Rhea and Damian. His babyface was getting real stale. So him joining that group made it just that much better. And then they do something pretty smart. They turn against Edge, beat him down, and basically kick him out of the group. So that writes Edge out, and now you got Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, which that's an improvement. At the time, it was much more of an improvement, but now I'll get to that in a minute. So the Judgment Day end up starting a feud with the Mysterios, which, just wait. They're fighting tag matches, single matches, all kinds of matches. And Rhea's obviously causing distractions and improving her character. And at the same time, she was going to have a match with Bianca Belair at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in July, but she couldn't compete due to injury. So for like a good 3 months, the Judgment Day and Mysterios are feuding. Dominic's trying to get recruited. And each and every week, you can see something's brewing. So SummerSlam, no DQ tag match, Judgment Day, Mysterios, which end up being the return of Edge, which cost Judgment Day the match, and the Mysterios win. Which, the next night on Raw, here's where the real seeds start. I believe Mysterio had a match. Judgment Day attacks. Dominic gets involved. Edge comes in. Accidentally spears Dominic. Which, just wait. It really does tie in. So that starts something. That's how Raw ends. Edge next week apologizes. Dominic's not really having it. And you can tell something's brewing. And this is where the Judgment Day got a much better. Because they were at that point when they were... Like I said, they look good, but when they talked, it didn't match up with their look. So, let's fast forward because nothing real... Well, Edge fought in his hometown against Damian Priest. Edge won the match. It was a good match. And after Raw went off the air, Edge made a hint of retirement. But, yeah, the man's had a Hall of Fame career, so yeah. But this is about Judgment Day. So, Clash of the Castle pay-per-view comes. It's Edge and Rey Mysterio versus Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley's in the Judgment Day side. Dominic's in Edge and Mysterio side. Ultimately, Dominic pulls Finn's head down onto the ropes. Edge hits the spear. 1, 2, 3. But Dominic ends up kicking Edge right in the fun bags afterwards and attacking his dad, Rey Mysterio, turning him heel. And the next night, he pretty much joined Judgment Day. Which, that was an excellent choice because I've heard many people talking about Dominic needing to turn heel. And it really helped him, by the way. So now, him and Ripley kind of have this weird relationship that no one really understands. But it's like dark humor. Priest is just a badass. Balor is Prince Balor. So they're pretty much, they had their blowout feud with Edge at that next pay-per-view, Extreme Rules. The build-up was like pretty alright, because Edge got written off for the 500th time. He came back, challenged Balor to an I Quit match. And when we actually got to this I Quit match, they did what everyone knew. Beth Phoenix, Edge's wife, was involved. They had her down. Rhea was going to give her a concerto, which made Edge quit. By the way, that I Quit match was really good anyways, so give it a watch. Edge quits. Rhea still gives Beth a concerto. That kind of writes Edge off, which I kind of see them coming back eventually to get payback. Who knows? A tag at Rumble, something at Mania. Who knows? So, the next edition of Raw, that's where... Beforehand, like, they'd have, like, backstage stuff with AJ Styles. But they didn't really do anything until the next night. AJ comes out pretending like he's going to join Judgment Day. But the return of the OC, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson. If you don't know the OC, check them out. They make their return. And now you have a feud right there. Over the next few weeks, the Judgment Day is beating down the OC because there's a numbers game problem. Because Rhea Ripley is always... helping the Judgment Day because the OC doesn't really have anybody else. And it sets up to a match at Crown Jewel, which Judgment Day ultimately wins because, once again, Rhea Ripley. And then, the 2 nights after, that's where the OC finally gets their help. If you saw how this happened, Seth Rollins was in the ring for a U.S. Open Challenge. Finn accepts kind of continuation of Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2016 when Finn got injured because of one of his moves. Does that. The OC comes out, interrupts. The look on Seth Rollins' face is just absolutely hilarious. And then it just leads to Mia Yim returning to WWE to join the OC. No fan. And there you go. There's that. There's an 8-man tag waiting. So Mia and Rhea end up, because Survivor Series War Games, they end up joining their respective teams. Belair, Asuka, Mia Yim, Alexa Bliss, and the returning Becky Lynch. Rhea Ripley, Damage Control, Nikki Cross. Fire match, by the way. So Mia's getting a couple wins here and there. Judgment Day and OC are still having their feud go on, but it's not as much because War Games is more of a priority. So at the pay-per-view, Rhea's team unfortunately loses, but you want the babyface team to win because Becky's going to have her win back, and then Becky's going to feud with Damage Control. And Finn Balor also fought on the pay-per-view against AJ Styles. Finn did not win, but really good match. 2 nights after, they have a big 8-man tag, all the shenanigans, all that stuff. Yeah, you know the deal. And Judgment Day wins, which I think is a good idea for Judgment Day to win that one because it keeps their momentum going. Finn did lose, but as long as they're not losing much, it's much better. But if you check the Judgment Day out now compared to like 4 or 5 months ago, you're going to see major improvements. And yeah, stay tuned for the closing captions. What is good, family? I hope you enjoyed that edition. That's just my take on the Judgment Day, which I think they are a fire group. They have definitely improved, and they're one of my favorite things on Monday Night Raw. Before, with Edge, it was spooky wooky crap. They looked good, but they just sounded just horrendous. And I see big things coming for them, and I hope to see something nice on this edition of Raw coming up. But that's for another day. Tell me what you think about the Judgment Day group. I liked what they're doing now. Stay tuned for more. Stay true. Be you. Yeet.